All right, I want to start a few years ago. It's February 2022, and for anyone who's been to Berlin, it is cold, it is gray, it's dark, and we decided that this is the month that we're going to move in to our new Impact Hub Berlin space. So we've been around for 8 years at this point, and we've recently got this new old brewery. We're moving in to a 3,500 square meter place. We used to only have around 500. And things are going okay. But of course, nothing goes perfect at Impact Hub Berlin. And slowly we start seeing, things are still looking quite incomplete. They're not finished. Our entire space facility team is out sick with COVID the week before we're starting. And the whole crew who are doing the airing and the heating system are also sick. So we have about 7 days left until we open the space. We have half the team. We don't have any heat. It's the middle of February, and we have to make a decision. So we decide, do we push it again, or do we just go with the flow and we open? So we say, the show must go on, let's do it. It's very typical Impact Hub Berlin, so we open the doors. And things are a little bit rocky at first, right? People are like, well, it's cold in here. We're like, yeah, we know, we have no heating. And we're realizing that there's so many delays with everything and building everything. And we decide that rather than panic, we're actually going to involve our members. So we came up with a very simple concept event called Build and Beer. And it says it in the name. You help us build very light DIY stuff. And we offer you some beer or a non-alcoholic drink. And we start doing these every Friday. And because we really need the help, we can't do it alone. But we start realizing that the members, they're coming because they're having a great time. They're meeting each other. They're meeting people who, they sit at a same table with, but maybe never talk to. And from these build and beers, we actually have had new companies start, long-lasting friendships, people dating. So lots of things were happening at this build and beer. And now I'm happy to say, after a few years, we are fully open. The space is complete. And we host over 600 members at Impact Hub Berlin in Neukölln. And it's really a place where people come together who work on social impact topics. So startups, investors, nonprofits, people who just have ideas, freelancers, everyone like that. That's who is at Impact Hub Berlin. Or very simply put, people who give a shit. That's really who is working at Impact Hub Berlin. So today I just want to tell you a little bit more about what we do, and I've tried to distill it and summarize it into 4 values-driven community design principles. So how we've designed our community based on values and purpose. So the first point is we like to give purpose to the place that we're in, right? So of course this entire summit and even yesterday and throughout after the weeks to follow, we're going to talk about the how and the why of community, of course. But I just want to give a little bit of a nod to the where, because it's very important. So the place that you're hosting your community could be online, could be offline. If you can embed a little bit of values and purpose in it, then members will keep coming back more and more. And there are some concrete examples that I have. So like I said, we work around social impact. We obviously value minimizing waste, prioritizing sustainability. So we are in what's called the circular building. It's built for like 70 to 80% recycled building materials. There's even wood from a Yoko Ono exhibit. You can ask me about that later. We've used that to build phone booths. It's even down to the fact that we don't use tea bags, we use loose leaf tea, also to minimize waste. So everything is kind of thought about, how we've planned the space. So we like to, one of our core values is also to be open and collaborative. So everything is open concept, big windows, even with the offices. It's in our community manifesto also to be inclusive. So of course we need to have a barrier-free space. And even our online channels, we have a code of conduct, we have a Slack etiquette so people can feel safe when they come into our online platforms. And yeah, there's of course not a lot of car parking because a much more sustainable mode of transport is of course bike parking. So we also like to encourage our members to either take public transport, walk, or bike. And so we have that actually physically implemented into our space. Oops. Great. The second principle, so who's a coffee drinker here? Right, okay. I'm not, but I do know the importance of having great coffee at a co-working space. But I will say there's one thing that we prioritize slightly higher than that, and that is who is actually drinking the coffee in the space, right? So similar to how coffee has a filtration system, we also filter all the members who come in, so everyone who walks in through the door. And how we do that is we basically have an application process. So there's a big element of curation who comes into the space. It's not for everyone, and we think that's also okay because we want to build a space where people, they have a shared set of values in there. And so our work as community builders is we kind of do the legwork in the beginning to kind of vet the people who come in. And then it provides this really strong foundation where people, if they are making coffee, if they're at an event, if they're sitting at a desk, they can look around the room and they can see, okay, we've all been through a similar process. We each have this North Star that we can share. And we've been around for over 10 years, and we really see that that's a really strong basis where people can connect. Yeah, so we have this application form, and we also think that the filtered exclusion, we also sometimes do it for the events that come in, like the external events that are coming in. We don't host people from like oil and gas companies and places like that. So is having this curated or filtered community always great? Is it always done well? No, we also don't do it perfectly. But I want to give you an example of how not to do it. So, from Berlin, I know we have some here. Has anyone been to the famous Berghain Club? Yeah, everyone's like, yes. Who's gotten into the club? Nice, all right. So there's a large percentage of people who haven't gotten in. Now, Berghain, undoubtedly an amazing club, right? Great time. They also really, do a lot of work to keep the space safe. But they don't have a very clear criteria. So every day, hundreds of people are leaving that place very disappointed because there are Reddit threads, there are conspiracy theorists, there's everyone trying to understand, how do I get into this place? So if you are having a more curated or filtered system getting people into your communities, just please make sure that it is clear, it is transparent, so that people understand, and even just simply communicating who you are welcoming to your space. That simple act will also ensure that the people who are coming there know that they should be there. So yes, I mean, Berghain, fun, it builds up hype, it builds up exclusivity, but in long-term community building, not always the best thing. All right, the third principle. Now, you're probably thinking, wow, Izzy, so many rules. How very German of you to come in here and be so strict in who you're letting in. And yes, we are very rigid when it comes to values, but we have also a very flexible structure. So we have one, okay. Very quickly, things like we have a membership called the Explorer membership. So we completely changed our membership model because we had startups and freelancers coming in, right? And they have very volatile monthly income streams. So this Explorer membership, we've changed it now. So it's kind of like a choose your own adventure. You pay maybe 5 times that you want to come in, or once or twice a month. It depends on what your month looks like and your revenue looks like. But they always have access to all of our online and digital offerings. And then we have community exchange programs. So can I get a free membership and sit at the host desk, or can I get a free community lunch while also supporting? Oops. And the last principle, just to speed things up, we really believe that connection beats consumption. So throwing a bunch of content into a group of people is not the best way to build community, right? Like, people don't connect on input. It's a great starting point, but it shouldn't be the hinge that gets you to, connect with others. So we actually, in our experience, of course, we have demo days, we have workshops, all these kind of things, but we really don't want to over-engineer our events. And the events that we think have had the most impact are things like, we have a weekly community lunch that 30 to 40 people come to, and we're just there, we facilitate the space, but we've had collaborations pop out of that. Our Hub Run Club, there's a startup that started from them. Of course, I already mentioned Build and Beer. So these kind of events, try not to over-engineer it and really focus on how we can connect people and not how we can keep promoting or like keep giving them content and input, because that can come later. It's not always like Impact Hub Berlin, they're always doing events on social impact. Of course we don't, of course we do, but we don't only rely on that. We also just want to make sure that our members have time to be people around each other. So, in summary, there's some questions. I'm going to skip them, but we can talk about. Here are the 4 principles that we really try to abide by and we use to grow. And now, in the last 10 years, we've grown significantly 6 times, and we've really used these as kind of pillars into looking how we can make them connect our members. If you don't want to believe me, totally fine. You don't know me. But we have a 20-year history with the Impact Hub network. The very first Impact Hub was actually here in London. We now have over 120 around the world. Please feel free to go to them, check them out. They're also following very similar community design principles, so you can see it in action. Oops. And the last thing that I want to say, if we think about back to the beginning, where we couldn't build that space by ourselves, we had this Build and Beer format because we needed people to help us. Social impact works the same. So impact, this is always what we say, that impact doesn't happen in isolation. It really happens in collaborations.